Okay, imagine this for a second. You're completely surrounded, guns pointed at you from every direction, way more of them than you, and you know there's almost no chance. But you decide to fight anyway, to the absolute last breath. It's just pure human courage, right? Against everything. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling one of those moments in history that just sticks with you.
Oh.
The Battle of the Alamo. And it's more than just dates and names. It's this raw story about sacrifice, about unbelievable determination, and how sometimes losing a battle can somehow ignite something much bigger.
It really is a fascinating paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
The total military disaster that somehow becomes this incredibly powerful symbol. So our mission today really is to unpack what happened in Texas back in early 1836. We'll use the sources we have to look inside and outside those mission walls. We'll explore, what led up to it, the siege itself, those 13 days, and then that final brutal fight.
Right.
And try to understand why. Why did they stay? Why does it still matter?
Exactly. And by the end of this, you should have a really clear picture of the Alamo's role in Texas fighting for its independence. You'll know the key people involved, why this story just keeps getting told, those kind of aha moments that connect the dots. So let's set the scene. What was going on in Texas back then?
Right. So picture Texas, early 1836. The whole region is buzzing with this revolutionary energy. You've got American settlers, the Texians, who'd moved into what was then Mexican Texas, and friction. Well, it had been building for years. They felt disconnected from the Mexican government, didn't like the policies, wanted more control, maybe even full independence. They'd actually won a battle already, taken San Antonio de Bexar. A big deal, strategically and symbolically.
But that win was, well, it was short-lived. A huge shadow was looming because the president of Mexico, General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, he was coming, and not just with a small force. Our sources say nearly 6,000 soldiers, a massive army, marching north with one goal: crush the rebellion, take back Bexar, period. This wasn't just about territory. It felt punitive.
Absolutely. It was a serious show of force. And faced with that, this small group of rebels, Texians, but also some local Tejanos fighting alongside them, they had to decide. They chose the Alamo as this old Spanish mission, sort of turned into a makeshift fort. Honestly, not the best place to defend. Walls weren't fully finished, too big for the number of guys they had. But it was what they had. They hoped to hold out, maybe slow Santa Anna down, buy some time for the main Texian army to get organized.
And who were these defenders? Some names are just legendary, aren't they? You've got Lieutenant Colonel William Travis in command, a young lawyer, apparently quite fiery. Then there's James Bowie, famous for that knife, and Davy Crockett, a genuine icon, former congressman, frontiersman. He'd only just shown up. But the numbers, that's the stark part. Fewer than 200 men, half of us against thousands. They knew the odds, they had to. But surrender just wasn't on the table for them. That kind of resolve is something else.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder, what makes people do that? Stand against impossible odds. It points to this deep belief in their cause, right? Independence, maybe a bit of a gamble strategically. Their goal probably wasn't ever to win that specific fight. It was to delay Santa Anna, make him pay for the victory, inflict casualties. If you look bigger picture, it's about that core idea of self-determination. Do people have the right to choose their own government, even when they're massively outgunned? That decision to stay, it turned that old mission into history.
And that commitment, that sheer grit, was immediately tested. Santa Anna's army rolls into San Antonio, surrounds the Alamo, February 23rd, 1836. Suddenly they're trapped, cut off, outnumbered like crazy.
Yeah.
But they didn't fold. Their defiance was instant.
Right. Travis, realizing how bad it was, no reinforcements coming quickly, completely isolated, he writes this letter.
Yeah.
And it's become incredibly famous. It wasn't just asking for help. It was like a statement to the world. He declared, "I shall never surrender or retreat, victory or death." That's powerful stuff. It wasn't just talk. It was locking themselves into that fate publicly. A desperate move, maybe, but also powerful leadership, trying to rally everyone inside and out.
13 days. Just imagine those 13 days. Non-stop cannon fire from the Mexican army, day and night. For the guys inside, it must have been hell, just constant noise, constant danger. Sources talk about them desperately trying to shore up the defenses, using rocks, wood, dirt, anything, while shells are landing around them, supplies running low, nerves frayed, knowing what was likely coming. But they just kept going, an incredible test of endurance.
And Santa Anna wasn't just using cannons. He used psychological tactics, too, which is fascinating and kind of grim. Every night, his army's buglers played El Degüello.
Oh, yeah.
It's a specific Spanish call. It means no quarter, no mercy,
Yeah.
no prisoners taken.
So, a clear message.
Utterly clear. Surrender is off the table from our side, too. It's fight or die. You'd think it would break their morale, But the accounts suggest it didn't. Maybe it even hardened their resolve, like, okay, now we really know where we stand. Only one way this ends.
And they weren't just sitting ducks either. Even in that situation, they launched small raids, slipping out at night, trying to disrupt supply lines, grab some food or ammo, hit the Mexican forces a little. Small scale, sure, but it showed they were still fighting back. Kept morale up, probably. Meanwhile, Santa Anna's just tightening the noose, making sure nobody could get in or out.
Yeah, inside it got tougher every single day. Food scarce, ammunition dwindling, water, a constant worry. And sure, morale must have dipped at times. How could it not? Under that kind of constant pressure. But that core group, driven by Travis's words and that desire for independence, they held firm. It really pushed them to their absolute limits, made them decide what was worth dying for.
Which leads to that story, the line in the sand. It's become so iconic. Travis supposedly draws a line with his sword, asks anyone willing to stay and fight to the death to cross it. A very direct, very physical choice. And the story goes, everyone crossed, except for one man. They basically sealed their fate right there. It's just such a powerful image of commitment, isn't it? What does that tell us?
It tells us a lot, yeah. Whether every single detail is fact or maybe slightly embellished over time, the symbolism is what matters. It's that clear choice, principle over survival. For Travis, it boiled down a complex war into one simple action: confront your own courage. And it creates this shared bond, right? When you step over that line together, you're not just fighting a battle, you're committed to each other until the end. It forged them into this single, determined, even if ultimately doomed, unit. And that collective yes led straight into that final awful morning.
Yeah. Before dawn, March 6, 1836, Santa Anna gives the order. The final attack begins. Thousands of his soldiers move forward in the darkness, 4 columns, trying to hit the walls from different sides, hoping for surprise.
But the Texians, even exhausted, low on ammo, they were ready, or as ready as they could be. As the Mexican troops got close, the Alamo just erupted. Musket fire, cannons blasting. They actually managed to push back the first waves briefly, showed incredible fight. Even then.
But it couldn't last. The numbers were just too much. Wave after wave kept coming. They brought ladders, started scaling the walls, pouring over the top into the compound. And then ammunition runs out. It becomes hand-to-hand. Just brutal. Sources describe knives, using rifles like clubs, bare hands, just a desperate final struggle.
And that's when you see those last stands. Davy Crockett and his group near the chapel fighting fiercely. James Bowie sick in his bed, apparently still firing pistols before being killed. And Travis himself leading his men on the north wall, reportedly one of the first commanders to fall in the fight, each one making that final, fatal commitment.
And then it was over, quickly, savagely. Mexican soldiers flooding the compound, wiping out anyone left standing in close quarters combat. The sources say within 90 minutes it was over. The Alamo had fallen, and Santa Anna's order stood. No prisoners.
No prisoners.
And the final insult, almost, collecting the defenders' bodies and burning them, a grim warning, a devastating end to the battle itself.
Absolutely devastating. But, and this is the crucial turn, that military defeat didn't end the story. Far from it. Almost immediately, the Alamo transformed. It became this potent symbol of the Texian spirit, that refusal to yield. The loss itself started to mean something else entirely. It's amazing how that happens in history. Tactical loss, strategic win for morale and narrative.
Right. That's where "remember the Alamo" comes from. That phrase just took off. News of the battle, especially the no-quarter part and the burning of the bodies, it spread like wildfire. People were outraged. Grief turned into this fierce determination for revenge, for independence. That cry, "remember the Alamo," it wasn't just words. It became the rallying point. It united people, gave them purpose.
And it had a direct, very real impact just a few weeks later. April 21st, 1836. General Sam Houston leads the Texian army. They surprised Santa Anna at the Battle of San Jacinto, and as they charged, what were they yelling?
Remember the Alamo?
Exactly, and they routed Santa Anna's forces, captured Santa Anna himself, secured Texas's independence right there. Incredibly fast battle, actually. So the sacrifice at the Alamo, that defeat, directly fueled the victory that won Texas its freedom. It was the spark.
So when you visit the Alamo today, it's not just old stones. It really stands for something much bigger. Resistance, freedom, the idea that fighting for what you believe in matters, even against impossible odds. It's a testament to that defiance, that courage. It shaped Texas, and it still resonates way beyond Texas, too.
It really does. The battle was lost, yes, but the idea of the Alamo, that spirit, that lives on. It represents that deep commitment, being willing to pay the ultimate price for your principles, for freedom. It shows how actions, even ones that seem futile at the time, can echo through history and change everything.
So wrapping up this deep dive, We've gone from the buildup through that intense siege and the final assault to the Alamo's lasting legacy. It's such a clear example of how history works sometimes, how even a brutal defeat can become this incredibly powerful symbol that inspires generations, and maybe something to think about as we finish. What are those lines in the sand for us, personally or as a community? When do you stand firm on a principle even when things look hopeless? What does it really mean to fight for something when winning seems impossible? And how do those moments of defiance, big or small, end up shaping who we are, our story? Definitely something to ponder after exploring the Alamo.